Do you think that was
we'll go
appropriate?
back and look at the Obama
Do you think
books.
it was appropriate for him to be meeting with the CEO of a company that has an active merger that's going to go before his administration, where he's the
All
CEO in chief?
administrations meet with the leaders of companies when there's, especially
You have no
when
idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. That's not me.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So glad you pulled up a seat for this one. Today we are dropping into one of those panel showdowns that goes completely off the rails in the best way. On one side, you've got Charles digging in to defend the push to get a late-night comedian yanked off the air. And on the other side, a panelist who is not having any of it, with Abby steering the whole thing right into the fire. What starts as an argument about one joke turns into a much bigger fight over free speech, government pressure, and a private dinner that nobody on that side wants to explain. Stick with me all the way through, because the moment everything cracks open does not come where you'd expect. And you do not want to miss how that conflict of interest question lands. And do me a quick favor while you're here. Drop a comment and let me know what city or country you're watching from. I genuinely love seeing where you all tune in from. Alright, enough from me. Let's get into it.
It's amazing that we sit at this table and everything is Donald Trump's fault. And when you call and put up a picture of the First Lady and you laugh about her being a widow and her husband being killed who's already been shot, that somehow that is Donald Trump's fault and he's mean to Jimmy Kimmel and wants Jimmy Kimmel gone. I don't know who you talked to the White House. I'm around the White House. I promise you a lot more than you are. The president has not talked about this at all.
Well, I also...
At all. Like,
sure.
It's on the list of things he gives you know what about, it's down here. But when you go on TV...
The thing that he sent a Truth Social post about this?
After it was said, you can respond. And by the way, if this was a joke, Jimmy Kimmel could have immediately been a comedian and said, hey, in light of what happened tonight, that was a joke. I apologize for it. I'm sorry. Because Monday, a real comedian would say, but he didn't. And you want to know, you would do it immediately. At Twitter, I can tweet right now on your show.
But hold on. I think the question
he knows he's not going to get fired, but he wanted her to be a widow.
Do you think he was referring to Donald Trump being murdered, or do you think that he was referring to a 56-year-old woman who is married to an 80-something-year-old man?
I think when you've been shot at 3 times and now, or this being the third and 4 different times he would try to kill you, yeah, I'm going to go out there and say Jimmy Kimmel's a smart guy, and I think he's saying a widow, and I think the audience laughed that way. They weren't laughing at an age joke.
I'm not going to try to be clairvoyant about what Jimmy Kimmel meant.
It's a weak stretch.
But I will say that we played the lead up to the joke so that you could hear the rest of the context. I'm not saying you need to like the joke, but the rest of the joke was the president. What if something were to happen to the president tonight? Is there a doctor in the house or Jesus?
We've been here before several times with Jimmy Kimmel. I mean,
he hates Trump.
I think the first lady.
He's a comedian.
Nobody's questioning that part.
No, but he's crossed the line.
Nobody's
You guys are
totally crossed the line on
You
what
think he likes Trump?
It doesn't matter.
You think he likes Trump?
It's a First Amendment issue.
It's not. I'm not arguing First Amendment. He can say what he wants to say, but it's public airways.
Hold on a second.
ABC should fire him. ABC should fire him. The First Lady is right.
If I made that joke,
that's not an FEC interaction. That is what
You're not a
ABC should be
comedian.
doing.
If I made that joke on my show joking, I would be fired as I should be, especially if someone tried to kill that person. I didn't apologize immediately.
Charles.
Donald Trump posts mock violence on his Truth Social, before that Twitter.
So therefore, shoot at Trump. Got it.
So can you stop talking for just half a second? That would be great. All the time, and we take it as a joke. He posted a video of him beating up CNN in 2017. You retweeted that and said, isn't this funny? So it's a joke then when he is doing the violence, but not
if we're going to go back to that, let's go back to it. Was he doing it in response to something that CNN had said, and it turned into a back and forth? That's different than talking about someone who's been shot.
It literally doesn't matter.
If I made a joke about you being a widower tonight, and then someone took a shot at you, would you think that was a joke?
It's about protecting speech, not popular speech.
I'm not saying that you don't have the right to say something stupid.
That is not popular.
You get to say dumb things. It doesn't mean that a corporation has to employ you.
Exactly. And they can choose to employ him or not. And they can choose to keep him. And Melania Trump and Donald Trump have the right to object to what he has said. All of that is free speech. That is how it works. The idea that he wants to put pressure on the network to get rid of him because he doesn't like the speech, that steps out of his space. He doesn't like people making jokes about his wife.
You have to understand what Charles is doing the second he opens his mouth here. He acts like it is some big injustice that everyone at the table keeps noticing the president's behavior. But that is the oldest move there is. When you cannot defend what someone actually did, you complain that people keep bringing it up. That is not a rebuttal. That is a deflection wearing a suit. And here is the part that blows my mind. This whole side spends the night demanding that a comedian lose his job. And the moment someone points out the double standard, they act shocked. One of them keeps repeating it. ABC should fire him. ABC should fire him. Over a joke. Meanwhile, that same crowd has spent years laughing off far uglier stuff from their own people. That is exactly why this next moment lands so hard. Because when the panelist reminds the room that the president once posted a video of himself beating up a major news network years ago, and that these same people retweeted it and said, "Isn't this funny?" the fake outrage just collapses. You don't get to cheer mock violence when your guy does it for fun, and then clutch your pearls when a late-night host makes a tasteless joke. Pick a lane, and the most grown-up thing said in this entire stretch is the free speech point. The panelist says it doesn't mean that a corporation has to employ you. All of that is free speech. That is how it works. That is the real principle. A private company can fire whoever it wants. But that is a totally different thing from a government leaning on a company to force the firing. Watch how often they blur that line on purpose.
Right being a widow after people are trying to kill him.
He's been enormously successful going after the media in a variety of different ways.
Who's gotten fired because of him? Give me a list.
Are you
No one.
familiar?
Who big has he talked about that's been fired?
Stephen Colbert?
Stephen Colbert hasn't been fired. We saw on the show and y'all said it was because of the economics of TV. That was the entire discussion.
You said that.
I said he was.
You said
I did not say that.
I mean,
I said that no one was watching the alien in half the country.
Do you think that Donald
There was
Trump
a
has
full
not put an
conversation at this
enormous
table.
amount of pressure on media organizations? Was he being feted by David Ellison at a private dinner just a few days before
Barack Obama, when he was president, met with all those guys too. And y'all
I mean,
complained. They both
Okay,
did.
but it was a
They both
completely
did.
that you cannot. That's comparing
Presidents
apples
meet
and
with
oranges.
CEOs of almost every company out there.
President Trump has gotten involved in some mergers in a way
I
that
was gonna
presidents
say.
don't do.
And also, was there a massive corporate
wow.
deal?
Okay, this is a new standard.
Do you think that was
We'll go
appropriate?
back and look at the Obama
Do you think it
books.
was appropriate for him to be meeting with the CEO of a company that has an active merger that's going to go before his administration, where he's the
All
CEO in chief?
administrations meet with the leaders of companies when there's, especially
You have no
when
idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
That's not true.
Go back and look at the Obama years and how many CEOs were at the residence
The
on a
FCC is
continual
always
basis.
separate.
Go look at Hunter Biden.
Hold
He
on
was
a
with his
second.
dad.
We were talking before the break about Trump's tone on Saturday night, and I think he actually attempted to strike a measured tone in those moments after the shooting. But he came out of a First Amendment dinner where he was excited to roast the press, which is totally what he, should have been doing. And then Monday morning, here we are, and it's a question of whether the First Amendment extends to Jimmy Kimmel, or does it not?
I don't think we're questioning that it should.
That's not
I
it.
think we're saying that ABC should remove him. That's not a government-enforced action. That is ABC.
that's their choice.
ABC can.
That's their
Of course
choice.
it is. I'm not arguing
That's
that.
their choice.
ABC has the choice to do it, but I'm suggesting they should.
Well,
and I think advertisers
won't,
should
but they should.
take note of it too.
Well, and he also said he's going to address this tonight. I understand what you're saying, that he could have tweeted something quickly, but he said he's going to address it tonight on his show. But look, I think that it is not right or fair to say that the left, Jimmy Kimmel, Democrats are the only ones who are attacking Donald Trump. That is simply, he also has a divisive rhetoric, which is why it would be lovely to see the tone that we saw from Donald Trump after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. If he could set the tone for the country as the leader of this country, set the tone. I understand things have happened in the past, but there is the future that we have to look forward to. And he has the power as the President of the United States to actually do a reset, set the tone in the right direction.
Is there a responsibility that lies on anyone else but Donald Trump, that after Donald Trump and the multiple assassination attempts, is there, because everything's been about Trump responsibility all night, is there any responsibility for Jimmy Kimmel to read the room and realize that, hey, this guy's been shot at a couple of times, maybe I shouldn't make a joke about the First Lady being a widow?
Charles, I think I think
hold on, I think that's a fair.
What was-
This is a fair question for a Jimmy Kimmel, not about what can he do, but about taste.
This is the part I think people skip past too fast, and they shouldn't. Because Charles gets confident, he leans in, and he dares the whole room. He goes, "Who's gotten fired because of him? Give me a list." He says it like a mic drop. But that is the trap he just walked himself into. because it was never about a list of names. The pressure campaign is the point. You don't need a body count to prove intimidation works. When powerful people start hinting that your license, your merger, your entire business might get a closer look if you don't fall in line, nobody has to be fired. The fear does the job for them. And then comes the moment that genuinely shut the table up. The panelist asks whether the president was being vetted by David Ellison at a private dinner just a few days before. And then the real knife. She asks if it was appropriate for him to be meeting with the CEO of a company that has an active merger that's going to go before his administration. That question has no good answer. A company with business pending in front of the government, sitting down for a quiet dinner with the man at the top of that government. That is not a wild theory. That is a conflict of interest you can see with your own eyes. And how does the other side answer a clean, specific, factual question? Not with facts. The best they manage is, you have no idea what you're talking about. That is what people say when they have run out of argument. When you can't answer, you attack the person asking. And here is what people don't realize. That move tells you they already know the honest answer makes them look bad.
Right. The taste question is a
so
question.
to answer his question, I mean, is there a conversation to have that's like this joke? You have a right to say it, but it's in poor taste.
Yes. Also, but here's the thing. Donald Trump can't give that lesson. This is the same person who pushed the conspiracy, first of all, made fun of Paul Pelosi for being attacked, who was almost killed, made fun of him for being attacked, and then pushed the conspiracy theory that the glass was broken from the inside out and not from the outside in. And the basis of that conspiracy theory was that was Paul Pelosi's gay lover. This is the same person who, when Melissa Hortman was actually assassinated in Minnesota, pushed the conspiracy theory by reposting a video on his True Social that Governor Tim Walz was involved, and the question mark was whether or not he had her assassinated.
I understand you don't like Trump. Is there any accountability for anybody else in the world besides Donald Trump?
He cannot, and no one defending him cannot tell me anything about civility.
Take Donald Trump out of it.
Hold on a second, Ben. I asked Charles to respond to your question.
He didn't.
Let me ask you to respond to his. When President Trump does the things that he describes, he's shared a video of supporters saying the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. He's posted a video showing President Biden hogtied, et cetera, et cetera. You could go on and on. Yeah. Is there accountability, responsibility for him to not do those things?
I go back to what I said at the beginning of the show. If I had just been shot at again, had someone trying to kill me again, I think the president's rhetoric from the White House and saying, we're going to do this dinner. It is important to have this dinner. We're going to do this quickly. We're going to come together. I saw people coming together. That was an incredible moment of unity, but he gets no credit for it. I understand that.
Well,
but I go back to the point.
My question was,
so you also didn't answer the question.
Sure I did. I said he's clearly trying. Unlike you guys are like, it's all Donald Trump's fault.
My question was, is there a responsibility for President Trump to not behave the way that he has behaved in the past? And can you just say it was wrong? He shouldn't have done it.
I go back to what I said.
Okay, here is where it all comes together, and it is the strongest moment of the whole thing, because the entire pitch from that side tonight rests on one idea, that the comedian was tasteless and uncivil. Fine, let's grant it. But then someone makes the point that ends the argument cold. The panelist says the president himself can't give that lesson. And he is right. You don't get to appoint yourself the referee of civility while you are the same person who, as the panelist lays out, made fun of Paul for being attacked when the man was almost killed, and then pushed a conspiracy theory about it. You cannot lecture a country on decency with that record. That is not hypocrisy by accident. That is hypocrisy as a strategy. And here is the part I cannot get over. Abby hands Charles the easiest off-ramp on the planet. She basically asks, can you just say it was wrong? He shouldn't have done it. One sentence. Any honest person could say it. And what does Charles do? He says, I go back to what I said. He dodges. Again. He physically cannot criticize his own side. Not even a little. Not even when handed the simplest exit on live television. And let me give you some context people forget. Back in 1798, this country passed the Sedition Act, which actually made it a crime to criticize the man in charge. People were jailed just for mocking him, and it backfired so badly that it helped wreck the party that passed it. And the nation learned a hard lesson about letting power punish speech it doesn't like. We settled this more than 2 centuries ago. The entire point of this place was that you are allowed to mock the powerful without the powerful coming after your paycheck. So when you watch one side demand a firing, dodge every single question about their own conduct, and answer a clear conflict of interest with an insult, you are not watching a debate about one comedian. You are watching people who only believe in free speech when it shields them. And that is the thing you cannot unsee once you've seen it. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.